Hello everybody, welcome back to Day-Today Chess. This is Sabina bringing you back the fourth world chess champion, Alexander Alekhine. This time against the second world chess champion, Emanuel-Lasker, in a tournament that they played in Zurich in 1934. This game shows a more attacking chess player, Alexander Alekhine. Maybe some of you are disappointed by yesterday's game. I thought it was such a great way of expressing blockade and showing the beauty of having more space and how to utilize it. But for those who would like to see more of an aggressive style of Alekhine's, here I came with a new game. This time he started with d4. As I said yesterday, he was mostly an e4 player, but d4 was also part of his repertoire at times. And we have the declined Queen's Gambit. Bishop g5, knight bd7, e3, castle. This was basically one of the main openings of Lasker's. And in this position, if you're playing with white, you should know there are different possibilities. Some of the most famous ones are bishop d3, queen c2, rook c1. There are good things and bad things about each one of these moves. The good thing about bishop d3 is that we're developing a piece, getting ready to finish the development, but there's a problem. When we develop the bishop early, we allow black to capture in c4, and we have to move the bishop once again, and then there will be some h6 coming, and h6, then a6, and black has quite a nice play in this position. So that is the reason why white normally doesn't want to develop this bishop too early. He's going to try to make as many useful developing moves as possible before moving the bishop, so that he's close to having finished the development and would not have to worry about a6, b5s, because he will be going as well e4, e5 once black gives away the center by capturing in c4. How about queen c2? Well, queen c2 is a good move, is a good developing move, but sometimes the queen does not belong in c2. Sometimes the c file opens up and then the queen will have to move again. So this is also not one of the moves that white might want to do in this position. And rook c1, which was actually played in this position by Alekhine in this game. Rook c1 is good because it gets the rook ready on the c file. It stops in a way c5. You know, when you have the rook already on the file, it doesn't feel natural for black to play c5. But the rook c1 might not be as great if the Carlsbad structure happens. So for example, if black is going to play c6 and then white, let's say, would take here, pawn takes, the c file now is closed, so the rook in c1 doesn't really have a good idea. Like, it's not the right place for the rook. We might want to do the minority attack, or we might want to prepare e4. So the rook definitely should be either in b1 to prepare the minority attack, or on the d or e file. On the c file, there's really not that much to do. Maybe you want the other rook on the c file if we're doing the minority attack. So there are little negative things with this move as well. But it is actually the main line in this position. So it's still nowadays it's being played a lot. So rook c1 finally, among all of these moves, seems to be the move that's doing more for white. And in this position, Lasker played c6, which again still remained the main move, but there are other moves that have been tried in this position, one of which is h6, to ask white a question. Where is he going with the bishop? Is he going to take in f6? Is he going to go to h4, to f4? What is your exact plan? Also, h6 is a move that gets rid of any kind of attacks on the diagonal. Sometimes in this Queen's Gambit declined, white can have a battery with the bishop and the queen on the b1 h7 diagonal, and then the h7 pawn might be in jeopardy. So h6 move is a useful move for black. Other moves that have been tried in this position were, well, a6 is the one that has been tried a lot. And here white could play queen to c2 now, well, still putting the queen to c2, bringing an extra piece on the c file to kind of stop any c5, but c5 is still possible here. And another possibility is taking in d5, just again to open up the rook and stop c5, but c6 will still be possible, of course, later on, so the rook won't be doing that much. And another very important move in this position for white is c5, and the idea is blocking the queen side and getting more space on the queen side, but at the same time having the opportunity of playing some e4, so it's a double-edged type of position after c5. Anyways, in this game, Lasker played c6, and now Alekhine's choice was bishop d3. He decided not to enter in the car spot, but to let black capture in c4. In that case, at least white has the center, so having the rook in c1 might be helpful for later. Possibly if we get to play e4, this rook could have ideas to come rook c3 to attack. This is an idea you don't often see, but when you see it, it's definitely a good way of attacking for white. Now, of course, d takes e4 was Lasker's choice because the bishop developed, so now it's time to capture in c4. h6 was another possibility here, but d takes c4 is quite natural for this type of position, and here he played knight d5. The idea is, of course, to trade this bishop in g5. Although it looks like it's white's bad bishop, black doesn't have that much space, so any piece that he manages to trade off is going to be to his advantage. So here white is forced to trade the bishops. Queen takes e7, and Alekhine chose knight e4 in this position, and the plan is to bring the knight in g3 closer to the attack, then later prepare some e4. Another possibility here, and more natural, would be to finish up his development with castle, and it's been played much more than this knight e4 actually. If knight takes c3, of course we take with the rook. This was the idea for bringing the rook. Like I said, at some point we'll want e4 and bring the rook to attack on the king side. But now black, in order to equalize, has to break the center. Like I mentioned to you, Nimzovich was talking about these ideas, hypermodern chess. He named it because it was the counter-attacking of the center that was very important. You're basically allowing white with the center and then counter-attacking it. So black has to counter-attack this d4 pawn. So e5 is in his plan, and when capturing, knight takes. Trading some pieces, getting the bishop out. This position is about equal. If white doesn't capture in e5, he doesn't have to. He can just leave this pawn there. If you want to take in d4, okay, go ahead. I can take back with the pawn and then open up my rook. Although I'll have an isolated pawn, I still have I have finished my development pretty much, and you're still a little bit behind. So white's other possibilities here are maybe d5, or maybe just develop the queen somewhere, maybe queen c2, let's say, because we don't want, if e4 we want to play knight d2, and if knight f6 we can play bishop e3, something like this. This rook can come via c5 on the other side, or via c5 e5, something like this. There are many choices for white. So castle in that position seemed a more natural approach to the position, but Alekhine wanted to attack, so he first played knight e4, also not to allow another trade of a piece, which makes sense because black still is without that much space. Knight f6, still trying to trade pieces, right, in this position. Maybe b6 was more natural, I think. I wouldn't have gone back with the knight. I normally want this knight to come to f6 to get traded. Not immediately, because right now this knight in d7 is controlling e5, not allowing white to improve the position of his knight. But I think this was a more natural choice. After castle, we simply developed the bishop and, development before anything. Knight 5 to f6 is not helping with black with the development, and is also retreating quite an active piece. Why not wait for white to play knight g3, and then, you know, with this knight in d5, when white would play knight g3 and prepare e4, then this square would be given away, so black would bring the knight in f4. Why move it so early? I think this was not Emanuel Lasker's best choice, this knight f6. And Alekhine, of course, didn't trade the knight to help black activate his d7 knight. Well, basically get rid of it. He played knight g3. Like I said, this knight is going to come to attack. And here Lasker played e5. Maybe he had to play it. I've noticed b6 is more of an interesting idea, because we want to finish the development and then e5. We're not in a rush really in this moment. That's my opinion. But something else I've noticed that we're playing with black here is queen b4 check, and trading the queens, entering this endgame where black is finishing the development and then counterattacking the center with c5. This seems to be leading more towards an equal game than what Lasker chose here, e5. It's typical, but in this particular position, trading the queens might have been a better choice, much better. Castle, and here taking in d4. I don't like this move that much. I think e4 idea is more in the style of the position. We want to keep the position closed. This way black will have some ideas on the king side as well. With the capture here, knight f5 intermediate move was played by Alekhine. Queen went, and now knight 3 to d4. And suddenly, in 2 moves, white's knights got really active with tempo, and black hasn't done really anything for his development. It's true, now he has this knight e5 move, but we go bishop b3, and how do you plan on developing this bishop from c8? Now you have some problems with playing b6 because this pawn is hanging, right? We can play f4, and then we're going to win this c6 pawn, so b6 is not the possibility anymore. So black is having some troubles, and the only natural way to play here is giving away the bishop. But then we have seen positions with bishop pair. Now knight and bishop is definitely stronger than the pair of knights, especially with the position being open. So white is slightly better in this position. But what to do with black? He had no other choice. And here Lasker made a mistake. He played queen b6. It seems natural to move the queen and then get ready to bring one of the rooks on the d file. Unfortunately, we're going to see what happened to him. White was able to activate his pieces really fast and start the attack. Instead of that, maybe g6 was the move to play, and if knight d4 to have the knight centralized, now we can play queen e7. We want the queen on a place that's controlling the center in a way, but also staying close to the king. Queen b6 is also on the other side of the board, and here Alekhine found a series of really good moves that led to his win. First, queen d6 with tempo. You have to move the knight. Rook e8 would allow, of course, knight e7 check, and you're still losing material, so have to move the knight. Now rook f to d1. g6 was a possibility, but okay, you play g6, maybe I can play queen g3, maybe I can play queen f4, because you can't really take my knight. Here I can have rook d6, maybe, or maybe after g6 I can just play g4 also. It's a crazy position, but rook a d8 was the move played, and here queen g3, mating attack. Queen g5, mating idea. King h8, knight d6, a really good move, going for the weakness in this position. King g7, what to do? I mean, only defense in this position. And now very beautiful e4, getting ready for e5. So Lasker just retreated first, and now it's time to bring the rooks into attack. Rook d3, bringing it in that direction. f6 check, and here please pause the video and find the final move of the game. I hope you found it. The move was this brilliant queen takes g6, after which Lasker resigned. There's no way to stop the mate. If you take the queen, obviously there's going to be up, and in that position after queen g6, Lasker resigned. Stay tuned for more tomorrow. Thank you.